Shalom, y'all. Some of you might know what goes in that hole right there. So that's where the alternator wires come through. Right. So why is mine apart? Because it was leaking oil through here. Actually through the bottom side, which is actually that side over there. This was pretty loose in that housing and it was just wiggling around, so Harley says you're supposed to replace it, but I am going to attempt to put a couple O-rings on there that I had them spare and seal it up. So I'm going to put the O-rings in these middle two slots. I'm going to leave this one alone on this side so that this end thing can kind of seat on here a little bit. So I'll have two O-rings here. On this side I am going to put some RTV Ultra Black on there. Right. And we'll see if I can stop the leak. So I'm going to put the RTV on the inside here, this last rib. And then I'll put it in there and I'll bolt this in and I'll just let it sit so it can harden overnight, and I'll finish the job the next day and let you know. It's a little bit of work taking it apart, but I don't like oil leaking all over everything. See you soon. My other option would have been to do this. $489 in the year 2015 is what this manual is. I'll try and find out what it is nowadays for you. Talk to you later. Bye. So here we are. It's going in. I ended up going with smaller O-rings than them orange ones. These are black. I stretched them to get them on there. And they are going in the hole. I'm feeding them through, so they are going in. This last bit, I'm going to put the black gook on it. All right, here's what it looks like with the goop in there. Well, I guess that's what we got. So we'll just let it sit overnight. I'll clean bolt holes and gasket surfaces today, and we'll put it together tomorrow. Shalom, y'all. Okay, folks, here we go. It's been a day. 24 hours, actually. Let's see what it looks like. That leaky plug. Came out pretty good there. A little wiggle. Pretty firm. I ain't yanking on it or nothing. Too hard. A little bit. See there? I got 2 O-rings in there. I did grease the O-rings. What I did was I put window detergent on here, window cleaner, on this side to pull it through. It softens it up some. But I got 2 O-rings in there. I put O-ring grease on. I'll show you which kind I use because it's the good kind. Molly Coat 55. That's the good kind of O-ring grease. Here's our other more greasy looking one, but the 55 has always done really well with me. And I'm going to put the magnet on next, and we'll see. I'm going to check for clearance right here with the magnet. I'll let you know how it goes. So I can wiggle this magnet a little bit, and I can see there is clearance in there. This magnet housing is not touching that rubber, and there is a little space there. If you get it on the metal, there's enough room there, and there is enough space back in there. You can almost see that it's not smashed right into it. So there's airspace. All right. I should mention to you what I did. I didn't have new screws. Book says to use new screws. So I cleaned them up good. You got to have one of these sets. Right? You got to get one of those sets. That's a necessity. Thread chaser. I use it on everything, and really it cleans the holes nice. And I do it on the bolts. I had to make one for this. It's a 1024. So what I do, if I don't have one or I need a deeper one, all I do is get it and put a grinding slot in a bolt. Right? That was for inside of here. That's a pretty deep hole. The 1024 one, you get a little, I used a file, but probably a Dremel tool. And just make it so the threads can do a little cleaning. And then, of course, I clean the holes with brake clean. And then blew the holes out with the air. Right, and then And treated what I could treat. In this case, it was just the bolts with the primer for the Loctite, and use blue Loctite. And that's basically the procedure I use for all the bolts I have to reuse. Okay, so we're ready for the next step. While I had this out, check your race, check your seals. And on this one, I had a bearing that was making a little bit of feeling, so I took the bearing out of there yesterday. It's sitting here on the table somewhere, but I'll be putting a new bearing and a new seal in there. Here's the seal that was in there. This stuff comes out pretty easy, especially if you got a tool to do it. All right. And Baker Transmissions, their bearings, my bearing is in the freezer. But their bearings are sealed bearings, so you don't have to deal with that Harley tool that puts the race on here. Let me shut this off and get rid of my flash. Yeah, so I don't run the race on the transmission main shaft. The seal bearing from Baker, just rides on there. It's got some mark, but I don't think it's spun on here. But it's a press seat into the housing, and then it just slides on this part. So if you got to take that off, sometimes you can get a second use out of the seal, but I already did this once, so. And the seal had a little bit of seepage on here, so it was time to change that one. Okay. The next step is to put that bearing in that housing, and then that housing goes on next. Later.